The college football experience, Maryland Terrapins 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by Circa Sports. Yes, Circa Sports is back with their Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contest. $14 million are up for grabs. Get all the details at circasports.com. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, everybody. Joe Theismann here. You're listening to SGPN. So do this. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, Maryland Terrapins 2023 season preview episode. Look, I'm excited to talk Terp football. Shout out to the Maryland Terps. Great name, Terps. And we're going to talk all about it, but perhaps you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. Would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Let's talk a little Terp football. My mother went to University of Maryland. All right.
Listen, Maryland, let's talk about the state of Maryland. What a funny state. What a funny state.
Funny how?
You got the deep country, right?
Yeah.
Whether you go up to northern Maryland or out to western
Cumberland,
Maryland. Yeah. You know, you got countries touching West Virginia. It's like basically pinned up against West Virginia for the whatever you call that, the peninsula of it. And then you got the hood. You got Baltimore, you got DC, right? PG County, right? And then you got the super rich parts, you know, Montgomery County, et cetera. Some of the richest counties in Maryland.
Bethesda.
Yeah, you're getting a little bit of everything.
You got the Eastern Shore.
And you got the Eastern
Get some
Shore.
of those crab legs.
Yeah, and that's
Old Bay seasoning.
That's the heart of Maryland.
Yeah. Throw some Old Bay seasoning on this fucking team, perhaps.
That's right.
Patty C, this team back in 1893 won the college football national championship. In my eyes, I don't know if they claim it, but they can feel free. We are a publication over here at SGPN. Feel free to hit us up and we will claim that undefeated season national champions, as well as 1951, which I think they do claim. And you can make a strong case for 53 and 55 as well. Tom Nugent used to coach here. They got the real Saban, who didn't pay players. Lou Saban used to coach here. And Bobby Ross, Bear Bryant,
A couple guys you might have heard of.
might have paid some players Bear Bryant, but Ralph Friedgen, the Fridge. You know, he was a great coach here before they wrongfully killed him off as a head football college coach.
3 straight 10-win seasons for the Fridge.
Unbelievable that they really did him dirty. But look, I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get it going. Let's talk Maryland Terrapin football.
Yeah, man.
Is this quarterback you? Taulia Tagovailoa?
Yeah. Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
What we got? Boomer Esiason.
Scott Zolak, Scott Milanovic,
Well, it's
Frank Wright, Neil O'Donnell.
Chris Turner.
Who was the backup on the Vikings during the Ralph Friedgen era? He went to the Vikings after that. I'm drawing a blank on his name. They have another one that was a backup, a long time backup in the NFL.
Hill.
That's it, Sean Hill.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you get this Terp team rolling, Patty C, back to back 7-6 8-5 seasons. They won the Pinstripe. They won the Mayo Bowl. They're, I mean, I get it. Mike Locksley. We've made a lot of fun of Mike Locksley, but perhaps we are the fools here. And
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of it's easy to see a tide turn. Did I say those words?
I mean, we said Mike Locksley not a good football. Did I say those words? Because he has gone back-to-back winning seasons, but he still has a career record of 23-54. So we can stand by that.
When you think of Mike Locksley coach teams, they have never, from the first year of him being a head coach, gotten worse. He's only gotten better every single year. 2009 New Mexico, or say the same.
Yeah.
2009 New Mexico 1-11. 2010 New Mexico 1-11. 2011 he didn't last the whole season, but his team went 1-11, even though he was fired without a win. So it's three straight 1-11 seasons. 2015 he was interim coach at Maryland.
Yeah,
1-5. 2019 at Maryland 3-9. Then short season 2-3, but that's an increased win percentage. 7-6. 8-5 last year. The guy is a rocket ship slowly headed for the moon there.
I want to read you these scores though. 59-0. 38-7. Right. So what's that? A 59-point loss, a 31-point loss. 73-14. Another 59-point loss. Right.
Was this year one of the Locksley?
Hang on. I'm gonna just make my point here.
Yeah.
Then so that's 3, right? That's 3 right there. Then we can jump over because 19 was his first year, right? 19 was his first season. Then we have
19. Yep.
We have a random win, 35-19, so a 15-point win, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we have losses to 66-17. Another that's a 39-point loss. Then he has a 17-point loss, 31-14, and then a 41-point loss to so 59-18. And then last year, just a 7-point loss, 34-27, but then a 30-0 loss, and then a 13-point loss, 43-30. He is judging by my math, which is a little questionable at all times. I believe he is. So he didn't play any of them in 20. So 19 is 3, 21 is 3. So he's 1-8 all time, or no, because they got one of their wins. No, I'm sorry. He's 1-9 all time against Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan. And only one of those losses has been a 1-score game. Now, I mean, I can add in other things, and this is the question I would ask you, Petty.
He's gotten rocked by those teams a bunch. It's almost Rutgers-esque how bad they lose.
Well, I was about to say, let's talk about some. So let's count how many more than 30-point losses, right?
Yeah.
Penn State 59-0 in 2019 year 1,
yeah.
Right?
I'll keep tally here.
He did have a 26-point loss to Purdue, but that's okay. 42-point loss to Minnesota.
Yeah.
31-point loss to Minnesota or to Michigan. Yeah. So that's 3, right? Then Ohio State is 4 because they beat them by 59. Then Nebraska beat them by 47. That's 5, right?
In year 1.
5 in year 1. Then Northwestern in 2020, 43-3. So that's 6, right?
Yep.
They only played a couple games that year. So then we jump over to 21. So 6. And then you have 51-14. Iowa takes them down. That would be 7, right?
Yep.
With the 37-point win, right? And then you have 8 being Ohio State 66-17.
What is that, 49-pointer?
Yeah. So now we're at 8. Michigan making it 9 with a 59-18 win, right? So that's 9.
Then we head to last year finally.
Then we head to last year, and you have
He played a little better.
They did, but Penn State still beat them 30-0. That would be 10, right?
Yeah.
And that's their only one. 10 30-point losses or more in 4 years.
And how many games is that?
Actually, like 3.5 years because COVID they played 4 games.
Yeah,
that's a lot, man. But last year they showed signs of life. They didn't play a P5 out of in the non-con, which is a little bit of bullshit. But I mean,
scheduling does help. But I mean, shoot, aside from that 30-point blowout loss, they only lost to Ohio State by 13.
Yeah, no, that was a good game.
Wisconsin by 13, and then as Big Ten West champion Purdue by 2.
But can I also make this point?
Michigan by 7, playoff Michigan.
But can I also make this point?
Yeah.
You know, if you take the bowl win in, which a bunch of players didn't play, let's throw the bowl game out.
Yeah,
they beat 0 teams with a winning record.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm sorry. SMU had a winning record,
and that was
7-6. Wait, but that's with the bowl. Right?
It's hard to judge this team. They lose really badly to the good teams. They win somewhat convincingly, usually against
I don't
bad
know.
teams.
They beat Indiana by 5 last year. Northwestern by 7.
Yeah, they're probably not that good. They're not as good as an 8-5 record makes you think.
I mean, do you think his job is safe though?
Yes,
you think it is. Right?
Yes, he's still recruiting pretty well.
Who do they want to be though? They have Under Armour money in the NIL era. They will benefit from the new Big Ten not having divisions. You know what I mean, and them being able to play some of the teams in the West more often. So
big time.
Yeah. So maybe there's that.
This team has a lot of number 35 in the national composite.
But that's why they should be better.
They should be, but when you're playing those 3 teams that are all national title contenders, or at least Ohio State,
you can't
Michigan,
get beat that bad, dude.
No, you can't. But they weren't last year. They lost to Michigan by 7.
Penn State by 30. Yeah.
Ohio State by 13.
Okay, fair. But Iowa,
I think most teams in the nation would take those 3 losses. If those are your 3 combined losses to Penn State. Not playoff caliber teams, but Maryland programs.
Just saying, like Iowa, I feel like probably recruits at a worse level that achieves way more when they play those teams.
That's an exception.
I'm just saying that Kansas State's one that would probably play them a lot better. You know,
well, Kansas State got destroyed by Alabama
in a bowl game in New Orleans.
Well, you got an excuse for everything there, buddy. All I'm saying is
Kansas State also beat TCU
in the regular season. In the regular season, to Michigan by a touchdown, and Ohio State
Michigan lost to TCU
less than 2 touchdowns. I think you're pretty happy if you're Maryland. I think you're pretty happy. Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting because this is we'll talk all about it. But folks, we will break down the offense, defense, special teams, transfer portal, and go game by game on the schedule. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. Subscribe, tell a friend. And remember, that's the hub for all of our podcasts. We host the College Football Experience. We talk college football year round here. We've been doing this shit for years as we break down all 133 college football teams with a solo podcast for each and every team in the land. We also host the College Basketball Experience. During the college basketball season, you will hear me every night of the season. We've already been doing off-season recaps. I know Maryland, could be pretty good this year. So check out the College Basketball Experience. Also host the College Baseball Experience. Maryland's got a good team, so check out that and the FCS College Football Experience we host, and we have the brand new Big 12 College Experience. Not that I know Maryland fans would be interested in that, but you never know. So
if we ever get the college lacrosse experience, I'm sure Maryland fans would be interested.
You're really getting pushy here.
One of the greatest college lacrosse teams of all time, just 2 years ago.
There you go.
Crab cakes and lacrosse. That's what Maryland does.
I do think they start a safety that is a currently lacrosse player. So,
boom,
folks. But look, we come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. I also want to say that the College Football Experience Maryland Terrapins preview is brought to you by Circa Sports. Yes, Circa Millions and Circa Survivor are back. $14 million in guaranteed prizes are up for grabs. And look, Circa Millions, just 5 NFL picks ATS each week and every week, and the winner may take all. And Circa Survivor, just pick a different money line winner each and every week of the NFL season. Can't pick the same team twice, so there is some strategy involved. But enter in Vegas, play from anywhere. Sports Gambling Podcast crew will be out there in Vegas last weekend in August, so hit us up if you're in the area. Circasports.com for all the details. Once again, circasports.com. What would you do with $14 million? All right. Circasports.com for all those details. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience Maryland Terrapins 2023 season preview episode, and Patty C. I'm just curious. So you think Locksley? You think so? Did he get extended? I wonder if he got extended. Because he was hired in 19. We should have done a deep dive on that.
Yeah.
But
making interesting hires.
Yeah,
and I'm curious.
As coordinators, you mean?
Yeah, I'm curious to get your opinion on these hires.
Okay, well let's talk about it for a second.
Okay.
I know we'll talk portal, but let's put that on ice for a second.
Josh Gattis.
I'm not a big fan.
I think he did a good job, if nothing else, molding his style and his experience with obviously a more spread.
I shouldn't say that I'm not a big fan. I just think he did a very bad job at Miami last year.
Yeah, that's fair.
You should have put up more points. I thought they made Ryan Van Dyke look a lot worse than the year prior.
Yeah, but I think when you have a brand new head coach,
Ryan Van Dyke. Why do I always say Ryan Van Dyke?
Tyler Van Dyke. Yeah, Ryan Van Dyke.
Tyler Van Dyke, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Ryan Van Dyke's the old Michigan State quarterback.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway.
But he's going in with the new head coach. The new head coach is there. There are a lot of things that just are up in the air and moving parts that they haven't gotten settled down yet. It's tough to look great in that situation.
It's also easy to look great when Jim Harbaugh is basically managing that offense.
He wasn't before. I'm
just saying, did the offense look good for Michigan without Josh Gattis?
They did, but I think Josh Gattis helped them get to that point. I think Jim Harbaugh had consistently had a kind of
I don't want to shit on Josh Gattis
old school offense that couldn't get over the hump, and I think Josh Gattis helped them. Yeah, I mean, I do think that.
I don't think so. I think he actually is doing a lot of the stuff that he did at Stanford.
He currently is. Yeah, I think he needed.
But Gattis wasn't there at Stanford.
Yeah, I think that Gattis helped him become a little more modern. But I do think there are strong elements, obviously, of what Jim Harbaugh has always done. I think it's still mostly Harbaugh's offense, but I think Gattis helped modernize it some for him.
Look, I don't think Gattis is a bad football coach, but I was certainly not impressed from a year ago. And I do think, with Michigan's offense, in my opinion, looked better last year than with him the year prior. So,
yeah, I mean,
I can't take. It doesn't mean he's a bad coach, but I definitely need to see a lot more.
Obviously, Sumlin.
Kevin Sumlin is an interesting one because I liked what he did at Houston. I thought at A&M he kind of got the raw deal. He's actually got a better record than Jimbo Fisher does at this point.
Yeah.
However, at Arizona, I thought he was terrible, and wasn't very impressed with him in the USFL either.
He's the opposite of Locksley. His head coaching record at the college ranks got worse every year for like 4 or 5 years until he got flushed.
So kind of all over the place on Sumlin.
Sumlin, I think he's a good coach. But
he should get another gig again. What he did at Houston and what he did at Texas A&M, I think now he needs to go to like the group of 5 ranks and be able to. But if I was like one of those coaches, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem like the type of coach that's going to be able to bring in bruisers. I mean, that's just not his style. And for what they were always kind of, to me at A&M, like never a real contender. When Johnny Football was there, they were good. They seemed to have like dynamic elements. To
A&M's never been a real contender in the history of the sport. I don't think
that's true. And then on the defense side of the ball, they've had Brian Williams there, so that's not necessarily a new hire. So let me ask you this: all black coaching staff. He's doing it his way, Locksley in Maryland.
But look, that's long overdue, man.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's long overdue. Like we've talked about the numbers of like. Obviously, I think the best.
I don't know if the entire coaching staff, just the coordinators and the head coach.
But to me, like the best man should get the job, regardless of skin color. Obviously, in whatever in America. But we know some of these situations. Like I don't know the numbers right now. I didn't do it for this year, but I know even as a kid growing up, I'd be dumbfounded on being like, wait, there's 130 schools. How the fuck is there 3 black head coaches in a sport that's dominated by black athletes?
Well, location is definitely part of it. Maryland's the type of place where that's going to fly, and they're going to let him do that.
As it should. And like I said, like that's why I'm excited to see what Dion can do at Colorado.
But even Dion, I think he believes in a diverse coaching staff, and I think there's
I think most football guys, I think they really thinking, hey, we want
the best we can get.
Yes, you know what I mean, like. That might not have been the case 30 years ago.
Yeah.
But I'm saying now I feel like, but we still don't see enough of it, in my opinion.
It's cool.
So,
It's kind of like the Georgetown thing in DC in the on basketball. You know, it's the same vibe. Black excellence happening in College Park.
Let's go. Let's talk about the transfer portal though, because such a huge role in college football in 2023. You gotta key in on it. So departing, Patty C, tight end Joseph Burns. I'm sorry, almost fucked that one up. He's gone. He's in the portal. Says I'm out of here. Offensive lineman Colton Deary heads out to TCU. Says I want a shot at a national championship. I'm done with these bullshit games against Rutgers. All right. Offensive tackle Keon Kindred gone. Offensive tackle Mason Lunsford heads to Brian Kelly and his family at LSU.
Ouch.
Defensive lineman Anthony Booker goes to Arkansas and Sam Pulled Pork Pittman. Defensive line Messiah Nasili Kite goes to Auburn. This is my problem. If they have the Under Armour money, how are they getting rated this bad? Quarterback John Griffin, he goes to Merrimack, but that one is not an NIL one. But obviously the other ones stand out. Running back Chalen Famatu, portal. Wide receiver Isaiah Hazel, portal. Linebacker Cameron Blunt, portal. Defensive end Terrence Butler to Biff Poggi in the Charlotte 49ers. Defensive end Zion Angelo Shockley, portal. Offensive tackle Tommy Varhall, not Tommy Vardell, Tommy Varhall, portal. Tight end Weston Wolf. Oh shit, you said in the Wolf? That's Winston Wolf. Tight end, he goes to South Florida, and Alex Galesh. Cornerback Jayon Venerable, portal. Offensive tackle Ja'Kai Green, portal. Tight end CJ Dupree, Alabama. So they're coming in there and grabbing the SEC specifically, coming in and grabbing some big name guys. There's still more. Quarterback Ryan Dool, portal. Offensive lineman Austin Fontaine, portal. Linebacker Ahmad McCullough to Washington State. Defensive end Tyler Baylor, portal.
Getting rocked.
And no, that's everybody. That's everybody right there. Now incoming, Patty C.
Yeah.
Duke offensive lineman Michael Purcell added. They also go out and get a Tennessee defensive lineman in Jordan Phillips, bringing in an SEC guy. All the SEC coming rated, everything that they got. So it's like, hey, you got to get aggressive, go out there and get somebody. All right. They also
Jordan Phillips is, listed here as one of the key pickups on the whole team here. One of the top newcomers. So we excited about the interior, a little SEC talent, like you said.
There you go. And shout out to Benedict Dantold. He was going to be on this episode, but scheduling conflicts. He's a Maryland fan, big fan of the show. Hell of a guy. And he has been telling me all about Gottlieb Ayedze from a transfer from Frostburg State on the offensive line that they're really happy about. Frostburg State, Patty C, I have been to a Frostburg State football game.
Frostburg, Maryland, right?
Yes, up there by Cumberland.
Hello.
Yeah, right outside of Cumberland, Maryland.
I think I went to Eastern Maryland on a recruiting visit. Yeah.
There you go, man. Get some crab legs. The next thing you know, you're sounding like George W. said, hanging out with Dan Marino, his dynamic wife.
On a recruiting visit. Oh, and he said, "This is the D3 recruiting circuit here.
Get in there."
Hey, I got some Coors Lights in the system there. Some really hot beer I drank there.
That doesn't sound fun. Defensive end Donnell Brown coming in from St. Francis. St. Francis was solid last year, in my opinion. I watched him a couple of times. Marcus Dumerville at the offensive tackle spot from LSU, bringing in them Tigers. So they traded. They did a little Brian Kelly trade. Kaden Prather, 4-star recruit in the transfer portal, wide receiver from West Virginia. He's good. I've seen him. That's a nice get. They brought in a JUCO guy too on the offensive line, but then also Miami safety Avante Williams, 4-star transfer get for the Terps. Cincinnati cornerback Jaquan Shepard, 4-star transfer get. Obviously Cincinnati known to have very good defensive backs lately. He comes in to College Park. And also Florida International, the airport, wide receiver Tyrese Chambers, who was previously an FCS wideout. He's very good. 4-star transfer coming in to the Maryland Terrapins. And Patty C, that's it.
Mike Locksley.
Did they win or lose the portal, Patty C?
I couldn't tell you. It sounds like they lost a lot more players than they brought in.
I think they probably lost by a little bit, but I still like some of those guys they brought in.
Yeah.
So there is that. Let's talk about the offensive side of the ball. Gattis, Sumlin, the OCs. And notice Maryland started winning when they fired Scotty Montgomery. Or no, when he left. They didn't fire him. He left for the Colts.
Yeah.
Started winning more when Scotty Montgomery's gone.
And behold,
it happened to ECU too. Look, scoring offense 66 and scoring offense, rush offense 81st, pass offense 39th, total offense 54th. Patty C, what do you make of all those numbers? All that shenanigans. I'm vomiting at you. What do you make of it? Can this offense be better than those numbers?
Pretty slightly above average. I will say that even though you mentioned, when did Montgomery leave?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
So last year a pretty strong start to the season offensively. Some high scoring output.
He went to the Colts. How'd they do?
Hello. Number 4 pick in the draft. Look, granted, this is against elite level competition here, but the last 4 games of the season, they managed 10-0, 30, and then actually 37. They put it on Rutgers, and then only 12 against NC State. Or 16 rather. So it's not like the offense was firing. Tagovailoa, though, good stats again. And then with Gattis and someone there, you expect them to throw the ball around. Maybe Tagovailoa has an excellent season. Do we know if he has 1 or 2 years of eligibility left?
I think he only has 1, but it's always tricky with the COVID thing. So
right.
Anyway, he is back, and he is one of, if you include the transfers who have started elsewhere, 5 starters back on the offensive line of scrimmage. Obviously Taulia, he's on the Stetson Bennett plan. I feel like he's been in college for 20 years. Also, Roman Hemby, their running back, is back.
Nearly 1,000 yards, 11 yards short of 1,000 last year. It's nice to bring back.
They got Ramon Brown also back there. And Little John as well, and Colby McDonald, EIEIO in that backfield. Wide receiver wise, they bring back Jeshaun Jones. They also bring in Chambers, as I alluded to, from FIU, and Kaden Prather from West Virginia. Patty C, I actually think the wide receiver unit is pretty fucking good.
Yeah,
I think it's actually one of the better in the Big Ten. Yeah.
Jones was the leading receiver. Is Dykes? No, Dykes is gone. No, Dykes is back. The tight end. He's the second leading receiver.
Corey Dyches.
Raheem Jarrett. That was the 5-star, right?
Yeah.
He's gone,
but still bringing in Chambers and Prather.
And then Hemby, the running back's the 4th leading receiver. So most of their production is kind of coming back from our pass catching standpoint.
Here's the problem. 0. No, sorry, 1. And I don't know if you want to count this. Yeah. Okay. So let's say 1. DJ Glaze, the left tackle, who started 6 games, 13-21. Okay. So they got 1 offensive lineman back, Patty C, but they did hit the portal. They got the kid from Frostburg State. They got the kid from North Carolina Central. They got the kid from LSU and Duke.
Varying levels of pedigree. Frostburg and LSU, who knows who will be better though?
Still, I mean, this is tricky to project.
Yeah, okay? I imagine with all the skill position talent coming back, they'll have some success throwing the ball. It might be tough running the ball, but the whole unit kind of depends on one unit on the other. I imagine it sounds like maybe a slight step forward. I don't know. Maybe a slight step back.
You gotta in a way for your offensive line, the fact that you do. Oh no, they do play Illinois, who has a nice front 7. Okay, well, all right. Well, we'll talk more about that in a second. Defensively, Brian Williams. No, not Bison Daly. Brian Williams, who was once at Maryland. Brian Williams is their defensive coordinator, and last season 41st in scoring defense, 39th in rush defense, 62nd in pass defense, charting at the number 42 overall total defense. Patty C, not bad.
Yeah, you got to be happy. Number 42.
Yeah, six starters back from a season ago. The problem is 0 on the defensive line, Patty C. 0. Now they bring in Phillips, the transfer from Tennessee. They got the kid from Florida State and Quashawn Fuller. They got the St. Francis guy, Donnell Brown, who I know they're very excited about. But still, you're bringing back 0 starters on the defensive line of the line of scrimmage in general. Yeah. The offense and the defense. You're telling me one guy back on the entire line of scrimmage from a season ago.
That's tough. And if the experience is in the back half of the defense, you only had 9 interceptions on the entire year. That unit doesn't seem to be super elite.
But they did good. I do like some of the guys they got in the portal in the secondary. But hang on, the linebacking core is back. All right, so I think they're going to be breaking in one linebacker, and that's probably going to be Brown. But Ruben Hypolite, so I'm pronouncing that one right. He's a beast.
Yeah, Hypolite Jr.
Jeshaun Barham is back, and then so they're bringing back their whole linebacking core for the most part.
Barham good for 4 sacks, led the team, 3rd in the team in tackles.
Tarheb Still is back as well, and you got to like. Obviously getting Shepard from Cincinnati. This guy was first team all AAC a year ago, and he's really fucking good. A bunch of people wanted him. That was a huge pickup. Then you add in the 4-star transfer from the Miami Hurricanes, even though their defense wasn't great last year. You never know. They bring back Dante Trader and Bo Blade in the safety spots. Both safeties back, Patty C. I think one of those is a who was I reading about? What was his name? That was the lacrosse player I was alluding to earlier. I think it's maybe Blade, or Braid. Anyway, breaking in a new kicker. Punter returns, but what do you make of this roster? You think they're going to be better defensively? I'm worried about the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you have to be. They have one on between the two sides of the ball. What, eight linemen? They have one returner.
Yeah. So there is that.
You're right. Bo Braid.
Yeah.
A lacrosse player as well.
Yeah. Bo Braid. Gotta love that. Getting those lacrosse guys. Let's play some football. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to go game by game on the schedule because I kind of think they'll be like a bowl team without really diving in. But I am a little concerned on the line of scrimmage because Taulia gets beat up a little bit, man. We've seen him get injuries over the past couple of years, so that's why we're so unsure of his status if he can return next year or not. But look, we're going to talk all about it. We're going to go game by game on the Terp schedule. Patty, Larry David's alma mater, the guy who created Seinfeld. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
I want to tell you that the Maryland Terrapins 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania is here, and Underdog Fantasy is giving away $15 million in prizes. Look, Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on your favorite MLB and NFL season player props. There's so many ways to win over at Underdog, and Underdog's available in so many different states. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right, Patty C. We are back on the Maryland Terrapins 2023 season preview episode. And Patty C, bet you didn't know this about me. I went to Maryland basketball camp several years. Gary Williams basketball camp.
Very nice.
Walt Williams was there. Had NC Nick's got a great story about Joe Smith. It's great basketball camp. So I want Maryland to be good, man.
Oh, yeah. A lot of memories in the DC area growing up there, and Maryland being a pretty big deal at times.
And look, the football program, I always thought like if they can just get out of their own way.
Yeah.
Like I saw a 4-star running back go to Wisconsin the other day from Maryland, right? Yeah. Caleb Williams from Washington DC. If they could just fucking put up a fence. Jonathan Ogden from Washington DC.
Put up a fence.
Yeah.
Man, I remember.
I know Ogden was 25 years ago, but my point is, my Williams, the other receiver, the receiver from Pitt, or no, not Williams, Jordan Addison.
Let him get out.
He's from DC.
He's like Caleb Williams. Yeah, he's right down the road. I mean, you put up a fence, you get that guy. That's a program changer. Who is it? My junior year, Chris Kelly, who was 3-time All-Met. All-Met player of the year at quarterback, had looks from Nebraska. It was like a scholarship offer from Nebraska. This is right after they had
their national championship.
Yeah, Frost. Freaking who won the Heisman there?
Crouch.
Yeah. You know, Tommy Frazier is like, okay, this guy, one of the best guys in the country. Blows his ACL in the Virginia Maryland high school all-star game, and then blows his Maryland other ACL after he recovers bodyboarding on the beach. You know, that's the Maryland luck that they've had. This is would you put them in the sleeping giant category?
Yes, I think they should, especially with the Under Armour contract.
It's hard to like say because
under our money there, you know,
Maryland does produce per capita, like, you know, in the top 10 nationally.
And they're going to be getting that Big Ten money.
They're going to be getting a lot of money, and there are super talent hotbeds like PG County, DC, Baltimore that they can pull from. And you know what? In the rich parts of the state, is good football being played there. Like Brian Breesy was like a 5-star that went to Clemson. You know,
they got to get these guys to stay though.
Yeah,
they got to get them to stay. Because South Carolina landed a kid from DC that was a fucking 5-star this past year. It's like right there. They're right there.
Yeah.
Patty C, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. I know Patty C is not watching because he's fucking here, but the win total sitting at 7. Shout out to Cam Kerr, our graphics guy. On first thought, I would say they're probably going to be right there. So I would guess that's how Vegas came to that. So it sounds like what I would say, 6, 7, maybe at the most 7.5, right?
Yeah.
But this year they do play a Power 5, if you want to call it that, and that's the Virginia Wahoos. They didn't play a P5 last year, but Virginia might be the worst P5 in all of college football.
They are catching Virginia in a great year to catch them. Virginia is down.
And look, as someone that grew up watching way too many ACC football games of Maryland and Virginia, none of them really stand out to me. I'm glad that the rivalry is back because they should be in the ACC.
They should be in the ACC.
Collect your Big Ten money. It was a smart move.
They were
However,
an ACC charter
you
school,
fit in
right?
the ACC. I miss those Duke Maryland basketball games, those Carolina Maryland basketball games.
Maryland may feel a lot better when Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and Michigan State aren't on the schedule every year.
Michigan State, I feel like they're better than now.
Well, yeah. But Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State, all 3 of them in the top 8 preseason. So that's not a fun in-conference slate, in-division slate. And when have they already made it
next year?
Next year.
Yeah.
Next year, divisions are gone. Maryland may feel a lot more at home in the Big Ten than they currently do, but they still belong in the ACC.
True. So that win total is at 7. All right. Let's hop into it. Saturday, September 2nd. The Towson Tigers, Mike Locksley's alma mater, coming in.
Getting them on the schedule. Nicely done.
Subscribe to the FCS football experience, the FCS college football experience that I host as well for more on Towson. Patty C, this is a win though, 1-0.
Well, I want to see how far Towson is from College Park. It's a good 50 minutes. You know,
5-0,
5-0,
right around the Beltway.
Get around the Beltway and travel on down to DC. There you go.
I'd rather go to a Towson game than a Redskins game. All right. Patty C, 1-0, right?
1-0.
Then Biff Poggi, a Maryland man himself.
Is that right?
He coached high school ball in Maryland. Was also with the Ravens, I think, for a year, right?
There you go.
He is coming. He's bringing his Charlotte 49ers. Biff Poggi came over from Michigan with Jim Harbaugh last year to Charlotte. Now they're coming up to Maryland, but it's too early in the year. Give me Maryland to win this one. I like the Poggi hire at Charlotte. I just think it's going to take a little bit.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It's not a miracle hire here.
2-0.
Yeah.
And then the Wahoos on a Friday night, nationally televised. The rivalry's back.
Love it. You see this hat? That tells you who I'm voting for.
Patty's wearing a Virginia hat if you're listening to this. So there's no way Virginia's winning this game. Maryland
most likely
wins.
not, but I think you are criminally underrating. Maybe not criminally underrating, but underrating them a little bit.
I'll lay 13.5
at College Park. Certainly have to favor Maryland there.
I'll lay 13.5.
This is Maryland's most played right. Yeah, 13.5 sounds about right. Most played rival all time by a considerable margin. 78 games. The next most played team, North Carolina State, who they were deadlocked with 33-33 prior to the bowl game last year. They pull ahead by 1 game. So good job, Maryland there. But 3-0 with the
put that in your pipe and smoke at ACC. 3-0, and then they have this at Michigan State.
By the way, Maryland's like 10 most played teams all time, maybe 12 most played teams all time, all ACC.
What do you think about them bringing back the old red uniforms too? The Terps back from the Neil O'Donnell era.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Well done.
I love it. Patty C, we did the Michigan State preview and I circled this one.
This one's tough.
As a 50-50 game. I think we ended up going Michigan State, but I don't feel great about me forecasting Michigan State as a win here, especially knowing the fluff before on Maryland's schedule. So they might be coming in. I think it's a very winnable game. We took Michigan State. Let's stay true to it.
Maryland's coming in hot. Suppose Michigan State either comes in with a win or a loss off the Washington game the week before. They could be in a letdown spot. They could be in a body blow spot. I don't know if Washington does a body blow, but they could be in a disappointment spot.
Yeah. We called for Michigan State.
Yeah.
Are you changing
in
that?
East Lansing, you have to say, but they did beat them by 2 touchdowns last year.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, and they Michigan State loses their QB, Keon Coleman at the wideout spot.
Well, they may lose to Virginia, so we'll call them 3-1.
Who's going to lose to Virginia?
Maryland might.
No. Not the game's not going to be close.
Out there.
Then the final game in September, the Indiana Hoosiers. Who the fuck is going to be coaching them next year? That's a win for Maryland. So I actually think there's a decent shot they're 5-0 in September.
That's very possible. 4-1 to be safe, I think is reasonable.
They're getting Michigan State's quarterback on this 4th start of his career.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah.
5-0 Maryland. Things would be. We've seen it. I think we've seen that before.
4-1, and then they head to the horseshoe. They're going to lose by 30 again.
Yeah.
4-2, and then they're home to Illinois.
This is tough.
I got the Illini. I think the fact that Illinois is such a horse on defense, like their defensive line, and I think they're going to present a lot of problems.
Yeah. This could be a God willing he stays healthy, but a Taulia injury watch game.
Yeah, true. So I got a 4-3 now.
Yeah,
potentially 5-2. The Michigan State game, I don't feel confident about.
Back-to-back L's. Fortunately, a bye week followed by a nice little road trip.
A bye week, and now they go to Northwestern, where before I would have actually taken Northwestern, but Northwestern caved into a bunch of public pressure and fired Pat Fitzgerald. Pretty ridiculous in my opinion.
Well, we'll see how
you keep the whole staff there. It's like, wait, the staff definitely must have saw. If you did an independent investigation, you didn't find that he knew. You just basically fired him because of PR.
And we're big Pat Fitzgerald fans, but look, I'll say this: it was hard for me to come around on the Joe Paterno thing. Even it was like I was slow.
You can't compare those.
You can't compare it, but it doesn't mean just because the magnitude of wrongness isn't anywhere near the same level. Like it still doesn't make it not wrong. What happened with Pat Fitzgerald?
No, what is wrong to me though is if you a 2 week. You suspend him for 2 weeks. No new evidence comes.
Oh, the school is complete pussy. But we already knew that.
Yeah,
we already knew that.
So, but this is a much more winnable game. And then you keep the whole staff, which position coaches had to be a lot closer than Fitzgerald was.
Yeah,
they're a bunch of fucking idiots at Northwestern. This is a win for Maryland, and that is what that puts us at 5 wins. That win total sitting at 7. Patty C.
Hello.
Now they're home to Penn State. Penn State is. With the exception of the COVID year, really whooped Maryland's ass.
Do you know the all-time series in this?
What? No, I don't.
The series record. Maryland 3, Penn State 42. There was a tie.
I will take Penn State to get that done.
History prevails once again here.
So what's that? What we got it at 5-4? Is that it?
Is it 5-4?
Losses to Michigan State, Ohio State, Illinois, and Penn State. So 5-4.
Yeah.
Now they head to Lincoln, Nebraska. That far fucking trip.
This is a tough one.
It's that far trip. 5-4.
5-5.
I agree. I got Nebraska winning this. 5-5. Now they're home to Michigan. It's a great spot to catch Michigan because Michigan's got the game on deck against Ohio State.
And they just came off of Penn State the week before.
Yes, it is a great spot to catch Michigan.
Second end of a back-to-back road for Michigan, Penn State, then Maryland. Phenomenal spot to catch the Wolverines. However, I don't think they're good enough to beat them.
I'm taking Michigan too. And
5 and 6.
And then comes this tricky one where I actually kind of think Rutgers is going to be all right this year. They housed Rutgers 37-0 last year.
Yeah, I'm not ready to pull that trigger yet.
I'm on Rutgers.
Oh, short of the Bulls.
No, they could if they get Michigan State. That's the one I don't feel good about. So
is this team going bowling? You just put them at 5-7.
5-7. I think the win total, if I was setting it, I'd put it at 5.5.
I think they're securely 6-6 because, like you said, there's at least about 50% chance they start 5-0. Maybe a 45% chance they start 5-0.
Dude, I don't know. I mean, they beat Indiana by 3 last year.
They get them at home this year. Yeah, I mean,
still, I'm just saying.
They're probably 4-1. They might be 3-2. It depends on.
I'm on the under. I feel good about it. The line of scrimmage, you have all these new faces. I'm on the under. I feel pretty good about it. You might be hearing about this one in August.
I don't feel great about it, but I'm leaning.
But there's no way you build me 8 wins. Build me 8 wins there. So you're not going to lose your money.
At home, Charlotte at home, Virginia at home.
That's 3.
Indiana at home.
4.
That's 4. Illinois at home.
5.
Okay.
Northwestern
6. Rutgers
7.
Yeah, there's your 7.
No, I said build me 8. You need to hit the over.
At Nebraska is not
so they
undoable.
have to win every one of their 50-50 games.
At Michigan State's not undoable.
But they could also lose to Illinois. They have to pretty much go perfect.
I agree with you. I think it's more likely they go under than over.
All right. Well, look, I'm on the under. Patty C's on the under. And folks, before we get out of here, I had a chance to sit down with Michael Barker, aka College Football Campus Tour, on Twitter to talk about the Maryland Terrapins, college football fan experience in College Park, Maryland, at what I know it is to be Byrd Stadium, but we'll talk a little bit about that because they call it some other crazy shit now. But here's that campus tour because his page, it's fucking awesome. All right, look, that's how I became friends with him. Honestly, I was on the internet and all of a sudden Twitter's algorithm just said, boom, here's this page that documents he goes to pretty much every college football game and he documents it all there. So I was wondering, who is this going to? One night he's in Toledo, Ohio. The next night he's in, Spokane, Washington or something, or just all around the country. And he's going to all these games. He's documenting it all. And he also documents the history of the sport. It's absolutely fantastic for any college football fan. Michael, I appreciate you hopping on the show talking about, the Maryland Terrapins, and now they're calling this thing SECU Stadium or something. But thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And last time I was there, it was Capital One. Now it's SECU. So, whatever it is, they've been playing football there for a long time. So looking forward to talking about it with you.
I know it as Byrd Stadium because I went to Maryland basketball camp as a kid and grew up in the area, and I watched way too many Maryland games when they were awful with Scott Milanovic and whatnot. But I know it as Byrd Stadium. But anyway, yeah, we can call it SECU Stadium. Tell me about the history of this thing.
So it opened in 1950 as Byrd Stadium, like you said. The original capacity was 34,000. Byrd stands for Curly Byrd, who was a former player. He went on to be a teacher. He went on to be the AD and eventually was the university president. It's gone from 34,000 capacity to 51,000 as its current capacity. In 1991, they added a 5-story with the name Tizer Tower on the south side of the stadium, and it had luxury suites and expanded press box. And that was again updated in 2009. And the largest crowd ever for a game at Byrd/SECU Stadium was 58,973, and that was versus Penn State in 1975.
Wow. I mean, and they were really good at one point in the 70s and 80s. People don't realize that. And I also think Bear Bryant coached at Maryland back in the day before he left for, I think, either Bama or Kentucky, one of the two. But, yeah, I mean, this program, now that they're in the Big Ten and getting this Big Ten money, there's no excuses. You got talent around there and all this good stuff. So maybe Maryland can capitalize on all this stuff. How many times have you been to Byrd Stadium?
So I've been there for one game. It was in 2019, and it was versus Indiana, who was 5-1 coming into the game. It was a shootout, 34-28. They lost to Indiana, so they kept, but it was a very close game. Their running back, Javon Leak, had 158 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. So very, very entertaining game. And they have a Friday night game, week 3, September 15th against Virginia. And, from a traveler perspective, anytime you get a P5 playing on a weekday, you got to capitalize on that. So I will be there.
That's an old time rivalry back. Maryland and Virginia. There's a name for this rivalry. I'm drawing a blank on it right now, but glad to see that back on the schedule. And maybe I'll join you one of these times to Byrd Stadium, man. Well, I appreciate you hopping on the show and talking about the history of the Maryland Terrapins Stadium. And yeah, man, I hope they change it to a different name soon. And I hope to see you there sometime, brother.
Yeah, we'll call it Byrd or try to evolve with the times. But yeah, regardless, I'll be there, and hopefully in the future I'll see you there too.
All right, brother. Take care, man, and thanks for hopping on the show.
Absolutely.
B Campus Tour, because it's Byrd Stadium. I'm not calling it the other shit.
It's
Byrd
right? Stadium.
What's the Virginia Maryland rivalry called? There's a name for it, isn't there? There's a name for it. You're sitting
I
over
suggested they have it every year now that it's a non-conference game. Open the season with the Maryland Virginia game. I know that Colby loves an on-campus thing, but this is a DC area rivalry.
No. This gotta be on campus
in RFK Stadium if they rebuild this. But on campus is just as good, or maybe better. But listen.
Tidings Trophy.
I played at Byrd Stadium.
Tidings rivalry.
Is it the Tidings? Oh, I didn't know that. I played at Byrd Stadium. The one thing that in the Virginia Maryland All-Star game, the one thing that stood out to me was the quality of the grass. It was like playing on a golf green. It was stunning. So
special shout out to the grass guy.
Someone could maintain a football field to look like a freaking golf green.
I will say this: in 1945, the teams met for a neutral site game at Griffith Stadium in Washington D.C. for a big time game. Both teams were in the top 25. It was Bear Bryant, head coach of the Terps.
Dude, play this game on Labor Day, Monday on Labor Day every year. Put it in DC and put the fireworks after the game. It'll become an area staple.
They should do a rivalry week every month. I've said this before. Yeah. To me, it should be the last weekend in September, the last weekend in October, which is Halloween, and the last weekend in November.
Yeah,
you get your best rival in November.
Yeah.
But if you're with all this realignment, if you're stuck not playing your teams,
yeah,
and they want conference games in November, you should be able to have that freedom. But it should be a staple in society.
A few dynamite Saturdays.
That every single final week of the month is a rivalry game. And I also say they should play Navy more. All right, they should play Navy more. What do they call that game too? That's another game too. The Capital Classic or something, right?
Find a way to get the midshipmen on the schedule.
There's a name for that rivalry. I'm just drawing the Crab Bowl Classic. It's called Navy Maryland. It needs to happen more, folks. We need you to listen more. So hop on over to the College Football Experience and listen to us, because all year long we talk college football. Even in February and March, we're grinding away. Still
your
talking
college sports home.
Yes.
That's a Maryland accent for you.
Check out the college basketball experience too, because Terps playing great ball. I've been to Cole Fieldhouse. I've been to the new stadium. They call some other shit.
Oh yeah,
but
they're a national contender.
They are. Folks, subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're on Twitter, also at TCE on SGPN. Give us a follow. Patty C is on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. And remember, folks, as always, to check us out, YouTube.com/The College Experience. We do host the College Football Experience wherever podcasts can be found. We do host the FCS College Football Experience, the College Basketball Experience, the College Baseball Experience, and now we have the Big 12 Experience out there. So check them all out. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. We just had Joe Theismann on yet again. Always fun to talk ball with Theismann.
DC area.
Go Redskins.
Yeah.
Folks, until the next episode, this is the College Football Experience, Maryland Terrapin style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.